gotta check this one out. We've got a full U-turn on Ukraine from Donald Trump. We'll read. Okay, so first of all, Trump just in true Trump fashion. I think this was while the UN was in town. After getting to know and fully understand the Ukraine Russia military and economic situation, and after seeing the economic trouble it is causing Russia, I think Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, is in a position to fight and win all of Ukraine back in its original form with time, patience, and the financial support of Europe, and in particular, NATO. The original borders from where this war started is very much an option. Why not? Russia has been fighting aimlessly for 3.5 years, a war that should have taken a real military power less than a week to win. This is not distinguishing Russia. In fact, it is very much making them look like a paper tiger. When the people living in Moscow and all the great cities, towns, and districts all throughout Russia find out what is really going on with this war, the fact that it's almost impossible for them to get gasoline through the long lines that are being formed, and all of the other things that are taking place in their war economy caps, where most of their money is being spent on fighting Ukraine, which has great spirit caps and only getting better, Ukraine would be able to take back their country in its original form and, who knows, maybe even go further than that. Putin and Russia are in big, big economic trouble, and this is the time for Ukraine to act. In any event, I wish both countries well. That's crazy. We will continue to supply weapons to NATO for NATO to do what they want with them. Good luck to all. Good luck to all. Bon chance fucking for a massive war. That's crazy. All right. So I don't the theory that Trump's foreign policy is determined by the last person who was nice to him is undefeated, and you can go all in on that one every time. And this is, I mean, make no mistake of it, like Zelensky has completely understood this paradigm, and he has been either silent while Trump talks to Putin and stuff, and then as soon as he gets spurned, he's there to kind of kiss Donald's ass. And I think that over time, it's all led to this, to this complete and utter reversal. And like, okay, on the one hand, yes, I on this channel we are based and Ukraine pilled, and I'll put the obligatory card in the corner, since I've talked about whether Ukraine is a proxy, and why it isn't, unless you're like a total moron who knows literally nothing about international relations or like the definitions involved or like fucking anything. Anyway, that was a bit of a tangent, but the I don't know that I am a maximalist like this, where like literally no territory will be ceded, but I do think that the obvious conclusion here is that Putin's never been a good faith negotiator. He's always been kind of just stalling for time and seeing if he can get one over on Ukraine and trying to get the relationship between Ukraine and the USA fraught enough that he can just win and force a surrender. And in a weird way, all this kind of goes back to that mineral bill, where like Donald Trump is entitled to a lot of the minerals in the contested area if the war is won by Ukraine. So while that deal was like kind of disastrous for Ukraine in the sense that it's very lopsided, it's like really manipulative, basically. It's disadvantageous towards Ukraine, the terms. If Ukraine wins, then the USA basically gets a massive amount of money and resources from it. Does that make sense? So in a way, like that potential win must have outweighed any thought that Trump had that Putin would like, fold or come up with a compromise. And like from the beginning, like Putin has been such a bad faith negotiator, and it's very obvious that he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care about the number of people who pass away in this war. He doesn't give a shit about the tactics. He basically, like, I'm not even kidding. During COVID, Putin was isolated and fell down a right-wing pipeline. The ultimate irony that he's the builder of so many of these stupid conspiratorial pipelines, and he fell prey to one during COVID. And that's where he got this whole narrative of like denazifying Ukraine and stuff. Like a lot of this is not he's not like the strategic realpolitik elder statesman that a lot of dipshits online portray him as. At the end of the day, he's like an old man who watched the wrong YouTube videos and is now completely callously throwing his entire country into the meat grinder, it will never recover. Never. It'll never be remote, like the loss of potential for that country will like never be fully quantified, but they're just not like they're fucked beyond belief. And this has been like a strategic blunder of epic proportions, no matter what happens next, honestly. And he's really like a gambling addict who's severely down trying to get some kind of win, and there's just no realistic ending to this war that Putin could bring home as a win. You know what I mean? Because Ukraine, very much their internal politics are very much like calcified against the idea of giving all the conquered land over, and like what does that leave? It's just a fight to the death. And of course Ukraine like has the right to make that decision, and it's very obvious that they haven't been deterred. And in fact, I think a lot of it is because Russia is so much more powerful than Ukraine on paper and has done so badly compared to how it should have done. It's hard not to be emboldened by that and to think that, like, if we're going down, Russia's going down with us. And that actually seems like very, very possible. It's a tragedy for the world, but there is something very funny and cathartic about watching Trump get repeatedly ping-ponged back and forth between Ukraine and Russia and just getting lapped by all the negotiators involved. You know what I mean? Everyone has said this from the beginning. The biggest foreign policy weakness of Donald Trump is that he's very easy to flatter. He's very easy to just like, you can get him to do what you want if you have any brains at all. The only reason Putin hasn't been able to get him to do what he wants is literally like he could have, like, we could have like a Russian, full-on Russian asset as president, but Putin is way too proud to actually do the ass kissing that would be required. And here we are. That's how we got here.